Pat. I don't think you're right there. Many people predicted it would only get worse. We saw the signs then when Dick Cheney was talking about it.
Well, what I'm talking about is the people in the administration. A lot of us predicted this was going to be a disaster overall. But let me say this. I think we are going to get to the September date, Joe, the Petraeus report, at which Republicans are going to take a hard look at it. Democrats have already said we need timetables. And at that point, there's going to be a decision made by the country, I think, and by the Congress as to whether we're going to continue it. And Petraeus is going to have a lot to do with that. I don't think he can tell us, look, we're going to stay on for another year. I just don't think that will buy it. But I do think the decision's coming then.
I don't think there's any evidence there. You know that Odierno, who is Petraeus's main general in Iraq, he wants to stay there for at least 2 more years. The White House says today it imagines 50 years down the road. This from an administration that said the war would doubtfully take 6 months. Well, these people see leaving as losing, and that's the problem.
But look, there's no doubt about it. We're not going to stay there. If they say 2 more years, we're going to have to fight like this, the country will demand they leave. Conservatives will, Republicans will.
They're already demanding that we leave.
Well, look, but then you will get the Republican break, and frankly, it'll be the issue in the 2000 election. Bush can't keep the same number of troops in there November of 2008, or the Republicans are wiped out.
Well, and the thing is, Pat, I think that is why hey, hold on one second, Ariana, and then I'll let you respond to it. I've got to say, the one thing that's going to change in this whole dynamic is the fact that Republicans know in the House and the Senate they're going to be obliterated in the 2008 elections if they don't stand up to this president. If this White House does not convince Republicans in the House and the Senate by this fall that he's going to cut troops dramatically over the next 6 to 9 months, they will rise up and they will fight him. And Ariana, I want you to respond not only to hold on one second. Hold on. I want to read this quote. Hold on, because it is a quote that I know Ariana is going to want to respond to. Senator Jim DeMint from South Carolina is actually not blaming the Bush administration, but Democratic wimps in Iraq, or Democratic wimps for the deaths in Iraq, saying this: Al-Qaeda knows that we've got a lot of wimps in Congress. I believe a lot of the casualties can be laid at the feet of all the talk in Congress about how we've got to get out, how we've got to cut and run. And asked later who he had targeted in his comments, DeMint replied, to a large degree, the Democratic Party and those who basically declared defeat, like Harry Reid. Ariana?
You know what, Joe? This is another delusional statement. It's as though we really believe that Al-Qaeda sits down in Iraq, watches C-SPAN, and sees Harry Reid making a statement, and they decide to attack more American soldiers. The problem with such delusional statements is that when they are made with conviction and when they are not attacked with the ferocity that they should be attacked with, they become part of this confused reality in which we're operating. And unfortunately, I don't agree with Pat that anything dramatic is going to change in September, or that enough Republicans are going to demand a change, because the worst case scenario is that Petraeus comes back and says there's been some kind of progress, because has any general ever come back and said there's been no progress? And so Republicans say, let's give them a little more time, another chance, because that has been the pattern.
DeMint's got this point, though, Joe. There's no doubt about it. The enemy in Iraq knows that the base in the United States, what you and I have been talking about all night, the base in the United States is disintegrating. And if they can kill a lot of Americans in August, it will disintegrate further.
Yes, we
know the war could be lost right here.
We should take our foreign policy advice from Al-Qaeda and the terrorists on the ground. That's what we should be doing. How about it's a victory if we're able to pull our military and the breaking of our military and get it out of Iraq, where we're not doing good.
Joe, let's talk political. Look, there's no doubt that they're basing their potential for victory, and it's a good bet, on the collapse of the home front in the United States. Republicans will start peeling off, I think, in September, Joe, basically moderate Republicans, Northeasterners, any left. But let me tell you what will happen when they do peel off. The Hawks will stay with Bush, the Doves will peel off, and the Doves will be wiped out in the November election. The ones that will survive, DeMint's guys, will survive in the hardcore red states, and the rest of the party be wiped out if they're divided on the war going into next year.
Well, and I think it is a lose-lose situation for the Republican Party right now, because you're exactly right. If they stand shoulder to shoulder with the president, you've got a lot of moderates who are going to be wiped out. And if they bolt from the president, that's bad news also. Nico, though, I want to talk about this dement statement. I mean, I remember after Vietnam one time seeing a documentary on PBS where one of the top North Vietnamese generals said, "We knew we couldn't win the war in the jungles of Vietnam, but we knew if we kept fighting long enough, would win the war in the streets of America and on the college campuses of America." That wasn't Rush Limbaugh that said that. That wasn't Patrick J. Buchanan who said that, or Joe Scarborough. That was a communist general who knew it. I mean, Al-Qaeda certainly has to understand if they blow up enough Americans in July and August, that they're gonna lose support. I mean, Republicans and George Bush are going to lose support in September back in America.
Look, this is not a victory for Al-Qaeda. What was a victory for Al-Qaeda was giving them a base in Iraq to train their soldiers.
What do you mean this isn't a victory for Al-Qaeda? Al-Qaeda is now blowing up Sunnis.
Absolutely. I mean withdrawing from Iraq.
Al-Qaeda wants America out of Iraq because they want to take over Iraq.
Well, first of all, there are conflicting statements. Various Al-Qaeda people have said that they wanted us to be there, so it's easy for them to kill Americans. But the crucial question is not what's best for Al-Qaeda, which they, why we shouldn't be listening to them. We should be listening to our own national security experts who say that our military is breaking. We're empowering Iran. We have hundreds of troops now between now and September who are going to die while we wait.
I agree with you. I agree with you that we can't keep our troops in Iraq indefinitely. Can you not agree with me that when our American troops leave, that's going to be a big victory for Al-Qaeda? Because Al-Qaeda is not only killing Americans, Al-Qaeda is killing Sunni tribesmen in the El Anbar province because they want to take that country over.
Absolutely not.
Joe,